On the night of December 27th, 1948, the world's largest passenger aircraft, a Douglas DC-3, took off from Miami, bound for mainland Florida. On board were 125 passengers and 9 crew members, a total of 134 people. Cruising over the North Atlantic Ocean at an altitude of about 8,300 feet, the aircraft was making peaceful progress at its cruising speed of 180 miles per hour. The time was 8:13 p.m. In the cockpit, Captain Robert Miller and his co-pilot noted that everything seemed perfectly normal, but suddenly, their communication with San Juan Air Traffic Control, ATC, began to fade. Captain Miller reported that they were experiencing a minor technical issue. That was his last transmission. Within exactly 10 seconds, the aircraft vanished from ATC radar screens forever. The plane's last known location was right in the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. What happened that night was far more terrifying than a mere mechanical failure. The aircraft was sucked into a massive vortex inside the Bermuda Triangle, the world's most mysterious place, a phenomenon no one had ever seen or heard of before. In the blink of an eye, panic and screams echoed through the cabin. Captain Miller fought with all his might to stabilize the plane, but it was already too late. The storm completely engulfed the aircraft, tossing it around like a toy. The plane's electronic instruments, compass, and radar all went dead. The aircraft was no longer under human control. It was flying blindly, propelled solely by the fury of the storm. After battling that deadly vortex for nearly half an hour, the plane finally broke free, only to reveal an endless ocean below. The engines were still dead, and the plane was rapidly losing altitude. Just then, the co-pilot spotted an island ahead. It was an uncharted, untouched piece of land. Everyone knew they were only moments away from death. The aircraft slammed into a massive, ancient tree on the island. The tree's hundreds of thick branches caught the plane like a giant safety net. It was a miracle, and it saved the lives of all 134 people on board. The struggle for survival begins. While getting caught in the tree had saved their lives, it was only the beginning of a brutal ordeal. Groans and cries echoed from inside the wreckage. Captain Robert Miller, who had slammed his head against a cockpit panel, regained consciousness and immediately sprang into action, calming the panicked passengers. Evelyn Reed, a retired Army doctor on board, wasted no time and immediately began tending to the injured. 10 people were severely hurt. Some had broken arms or legs, while 2 suffered deep head trauma. The rest were in deep shock, but safe. As everyone slowly climbed down from the aircraft, they realized exactly where they were trapped. This was an island that did not exist on any map. It was surrounded by a dense jungle, bizarre vegetation, and an eerie, absolute silence. Their first and biggest challenge was water. Everyone was parched, but there was no sign of a river, stream, or fresh water source anywhere on the island. Their only hope was rainwater. Using his experience, Captain Miller divided the survivors into groups. One group was tasked with scavenging the wreckage for food, medical supplies, and useful tools. The other group worked with the captain to build a temporary shelter for the night. Using broken plane seats, metal sheets, and massive leaves, they rigged up a makeshift roof to protect themselves from the nighttime chill and potential rainfall. That first night, as they huddled close together for warmth, a single question haunted their minds. Will anyone ever come looking for us? Will we ever leave this strange place alive? New challenges and tragedies. The next morning brought a fresh wave of challenges, a lack of food, and the need to build a fire. The small amount of food salvaged from the plane wasn't going to last long. They had to forage for food on the island, but they had no way of knowing which fruits were poisonous and which were safe to eat. In desperation, a middle-aged man ate an unfamiliar fruit and died in agonizing pain just a few hours later. This was the first death on the island, and it shook everyone to the core. Fear and the harsh reality of limited food triggered the first conflicts among the survivors, but Captain Miller and Dr. Evelyn managed to restore order. That evening, a teenage boy with a keen interest in science used the lens from his eyeglasses to focus the sun's rays onto a pile of dry leaves. After hours of painstaking effort, a thin wisp of smoke rose from the leaves, followed by a tiny flame. Fire. It was a massive victory for them. The fire was not only essential for cooking, but it also served to keep wild animals away during the night. Meanwhile, Arthur Vance, an engineer on board, attempted to repair the broken radio. After grueling effort, he managed to broadcast a weak signal. He sent out their last known coordinates in a plea for help, but there was no response. The radio's battery died shortly after, cutting off their only link to the outside world. Days turned into weeks. When 10 days passed without any sign of rescue, 4 boys and a girl hit their breaking point. One night, while everyone else was asleep, they slipped away and took a small raft made from plane wreckage out into the ocean. They were never seen again. What happened to them remains an unsolved mystery. After those 5 people vanished, the remaining survivors realized they were in this for the long haul. Captain Miller.